grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light. Our last conversation was about being dead in this world, being dead in this world, and why it's important that each moment that you're moving about, going forth, you remember that you are dead in this world. If you forget that, if you forget that you're dead, then you will be offended. I want you to hear that. You're going to be offended if you are a child of Abba in this world. You will have tribulation. Think it not strange concerning the fiery trials that are to try you, to test you. For acceptable men are made, forged in the furnace of adversity. So if you come to serve Abba, prepare your heart for tribulation. You must. It is written so. My son, if you come to serve Abba, prepare thine heart for tribulation, and set thine heart aright. See, because if you don't set your heart aright, as the scripture says, in right thought, then you will forget his word. And when you're dealing with the enemy, you must use his word to fight that battle. You understand that? See, because when Christ was tempted of the devil, what did he use? Did he speak out of his own feelings? Did he think of vain philosophies to use? Or words of wisdom, deep knowledge? Or did he simply use the word of Abba? And see, if you're looking at Christ, then you won't be offended by anything that happens to you, because you will be remembering that you are dead. You are crucified alongside of him. Do you understand that? So I got a question for you. Christ was spat on. That means the spit hit his body. Now, are you part of his body? So then that spit hits you. You are spat on if you are crucified with him. Now, what did he do as your example when he was spat upon? When he was accused, when they bore false witness, what did he do? Now, as a sheep before the shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth. Would a dead person open his mouth if he was being spat upon? Let's just really get down into it. Have there been times in this world where a person's life was taken from them, they were murdered, and after they were killed, they were spat upon, beaten, mutilated? Did they respond to the mutilation after they were dead? So, did Christ open his mouth? As our example, it is when you forget to look at Christ, when somebody attacks you, or something attacks you, or something is going on that has got your attention off of him, now you have turned into a pillar of salt. Or, in other words, you have been offended. You are salty. You follow that? You take your mind off Christ. You took your eyes off Christ and forgot that he opened not his mouth. I am part of that same body. So then I do as he did, because he is my head. Isn't that what we read? Christ is the head of the whole body, that nourishes the whole body. So if you are part of that body, if you claim to be a part of that body, then you have to walk as he walked through the suffering. If we suffer with him, then we shall reign with him and be glorified with him. It doesn't work where you don't suffer with him, but you still get the glory. So I want y'all to understand this, because Abba Yah has chosen a people of the earth to demonstrate this to the whole world. That happens to be people that look like me, that were put into bondage and slavery. And the whole world, the whole vast nations of the world, acts like it's a blind eye to it. They turn a blind eye to it. See, they are offended at Christ's suffering. Do you understand? Christ means anointed, chosen. There's only one chosen people of God. One. Just like there's one Messiah. Do y'all understand how it's connected? So the people of God suffer in like fashion to the Christ, because the people of God are the Christ of God. They are the chosen. And let's see if that's the case. Israel, I have loved thee and chosen thee to be a special people unto myself above all the nations that are upon the face of the earth. Does Abba change? So let's get this clear. Christ was chosen because Abba loved his son, and he chose him above all his sons. Do you see? So he is a chosen, set apart, special people unto myself. Do you see? So to see how Christ has been treated, all you have to know is how have people that look like me been treated by other nations of people. How do the other nations of people feel about you? You see? And that is what happens when you read the word. They are a chosen people that suffer great affliction, but in the end will receive grace and mercy from the Father and be glorified. That's what you read in there. So the question is, are you a part of that body? Because if you are, then you must constantly remember to keep your eyes on Christ. Because you will be surprised at the thing you suffered, Christ has suffered. So if you want to know how to deal with it, then just go to Christ and see. I told you, was he spat on? Now, what can somebody do to you more offensive than that? So when you're spat upon, and it doesn't mean physical spit, somebody actually spits. It can mean that, but it also means somebody does something that makes you feel the same feeling. See, because it's about the feeling. It's not about the act. It is about what does it make a person feel? Offense. See? So offense is what it is. When somebody offends you, can you take it? And if they offend you wrongfully, can you bear it? Because love bears all things. Love bears iniquity. By his stripes we are healed. He bore our iniquities upon himself. Do you hear it? I mean, do you hear it? How there's no questions about the validity of it? The truth of Christ? That this bearing our iniquities, ours, on himself. And if you be a part of that body that is bearing the iniquities, then you're bearing the iniquity of the people around you when you go forth into this world. And if you forget to be like Christ, then you will become offended and you will become bitter and salty and vengeful and spiteful. You understand that? I'll give you guys an example. I'm walking one day. I'm in a city. I'm in Stockbridge, Georgia, a place I didn't ever been before. And I'm living in this home of a person I had just met. And I had no transportation, had no money, really had no resources. But I had been given some money from someone and was able to get some food. But I had no transportation, so I was walking to this place. Well, in the midst of me walking, which was a few miles, it started to rain. But I walked on through it anyway because the food I was getting wasn't only for me, but it was for two women and two children. So I wasn't going to complain about having to get it through the rain or anything. I was going to bear it because love bears all things. You see? So as I'm walking and doing this, that's on the way. It starts raining and everything. Well, I get to the place, I get the things that I need. Now I have to walk back. So I have the food, and I'm walking on the side of this road. There's no sidewalk, it's just the road and a ditch because, like I said, it's in Georgia. So I'm walking through the little ditch, and it's raining and raining and raining. And this lady comes up, and she offers me a ride home. So I get in the car, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm wet. You know, I probably smell kind of like rain and everything. And she's like, oh, it's no problem. You know, it's all good. She was like, so where we headed? So I'm telling her where to go. And I was like, why did you help me? I said, why did you pull over and stop and help me? You know, it's very, very strange for a woman especially to help a man, you know. That's what just happens to be walking up the street. It's very rare. And she said, because when I saw you, this is what she said. She said, when I saw you walking, I saw that you're not bitter. You're not angry. You had a good positive energy about you. Another time, this time I'm in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm walking up the street, and this man pulls over, and he offers me a ride. So I hop in his truck, and we're driving around, and I asked him the same thing. I said, what made you stop and pull and help me? He said, you're not bitter. So out of the mouth of two witnesses, I heard the same thing. As if they were shocked that I wasn't upset or that I wasn't angry. Why they would think I would be, I don't know. Maybe because of the circumstance that I was in. You see? But that is how we demonstrate our loyalty to the truth. That is how we keep our eyes on Christ, letting love lead us through unto the end of every activity that we do, every decision that we make, every move that we make. It's Christ doing it. Christ is leading us because not my will, but your will be done. So the most important thing to not being offended, which is the hardest thing for the elect right now, doesn't it say that they wear out the saints? Wear them out. Well, wearing out means you were designed to do something, and from doing it, it is wore out. Like if you have some jeans and the knees are wore out on the jeans. It's from use. Well, what is that with you? You're the pair of jeans. Well, that means that you were designed to love, to be the body of Christ in the flesh, to show forth the praises of the Father in the flesh. That's what you are. Well, that means you're loving. Well, that takes a lot of bearing, a lot of hoping all things, a lot of believing all things, even when ones are lying to you. That's not an easy task to do. So it's best that you link and yoke with Christ, as he said, to yoke up with him, that it will be easy for you to walk through this life. When something happens to you, just look over to the right. Look at Christ that's there next to you and say, what do I do? He says, do as I do. Do as I do. And if you do as he does, then you have proven that you are one with him, haven't you? All right, that's all for now. Silawan, Mr. Allah.